talk about my favorite treats that I use to train my own dogs, so stay tuned. For the best dog training and product advice, be sure to hit subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lisa. I am a certified professional dog trainer, and I have helped hundreds and hundreds of pups and their parents live more peaceful lives together. As mentioned, I'm going to talk about my favorite treats I use for dog training in 2021. But before I get into that, let's talk about what exactly makes a good treat for training. So the first thing I look for is that they are relatively easy to consume for your learner. That's your dog. This is because if treats take too long to consume, it's gonna take a really long time to get a lot of reps in. So let's say you ask your dog for a sit and then you give them a really big milk bone to chew, right? Then you have to wait 30 or 45 seconds for them to get done with that treat. So if you're trying to get a lot of reps in, which usually you are if you are in a training session, then you wanna make sure that they're eating that treat really quickly and it's easy to consume. The second thing that I look for is that they are easy to deliver into my dog's mouth. Why does this matter? The reason this matters is because if you are fumbling, dropping treats all the time, your dog is going to start looking to the ground when you mark the behavior they did correctly. So once again, going back to my sit example, let's say I say sit, they do the sit, I say yes, or I use my clicker to click that behavior. Since I'm so clumsy with my treats all the time, instead of looking to my hand for the treat, they're gonna start sniffing around looking for the treat because they've learned that my human drops treats all the time, so this is the quickest way for me to get my treats. So it's really important that we don't drop treats as much as we can. So some things you can look for to make sure that they're easy to deliver is one, that they're all around the same size. When they're different sizes, it's easier to drop them, and that they don't crumble a lot, because if they crumble, even if you deliver the main part of the treat to their mouth, they're gonna learn to sniff for crumbs in between each rep. Last but not least, an important thing to look for is to make sure that your pup likes them. Now, this is one that might seem pretty obvious, but just because one dog really likes seafood, that doesn't mean the other one does. In fact, my dogs, Ziggy and Dodger, love pretty much every food, but they love seafood. Waffles does not like seafood. So it's important to know what your dog's likes and dislikes are, because they're not gonna work for a treat that they don't like. It's like asking me to clean for steamed broccoli. I'm just not gonna do it. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I am going to talk about my favorite treats as of right now, which is technically May 31st, but I'm gonna say June of 2021. Number one is Happy Howie treats. I love these because it comes as a big sausage treat, and you can actually cut the cubes based on how big or small your dog is. You can also measure out how much you're actually giving your dog. So if you're trying to limit their treats, you could cut a quarter of the sausage and then cut them into even smaller cubes. Number two is Zukes. I love that these are small, relatively the same size, and my dog Waffles, who's definitely the pickier one, loves the rabbit ones. I found that the most popular protein that the dogs and puppies I train tend to like are the duck, the rabbit, and the salmon flavor. Now, number three is Bark Pouch. Now, I love these for anxiety or reactivity cases where you need your dog to continuously lick or chew or eat. A small amount goes a long way. Also for reactivity cases, if you're just giving them a treat, they can easily redirect to just barking at the other dog. And with the Bark Pouch, you can let them lick while they're seeing the trigger. I also like the Bark Pouch because the dogs and puppies that I trained are absolutely obsessed with it. Now, of course, they are a little bit of a higher price point. You can DIY this by getting your own travel toothpaste bottles and adding their favorite wet food into it. Now, last but not least, my go-to treat is Ziwi Peak. Now, these are technically a dog food. I think they sell a treat version, but they're more expensive and they're exactly the same. And Ziwi Peak is already pretty expensive, so I recommend just buying it in bulk with the dog food. And I like Ziwi Peak because they're high value, but also they technically are a dog food. So So if your dog tends to get a lot of treats for training on a certain day, you can just give them less of their meal and they're still going to get that balanced diet, versus if you give them a lot of Zukes or the sausage treats, that's not necessarily making up for the nutrition that they would have gotten from their meals. You could also use Ziwi as a meal and portion out their meal in the morning and then use those as treats throughout the day. But Ziwi is a pretty expensive food to feed your dog, which is why I tend to use them more as treats. But if you have the budget, then definitely recommend Ziwi as a food as well. Calories may not be as big of a deal for bigger dogs unless your dog is already overweight, but for smaller dogs like toy breeds, those calories can add up really, really quickly, and even 1 pound is a way bigger percentage of their entire body weight, meaning it's a lot more unhealthy to overfeed your small dog. Now, it's unhealthy for any dog to be overweight, but what I'm trying to say is that smaller dogs will have calories add up a lot faster. So this is why I love Ziwi. They're high value and it can actually replace some of their meal. Now, I want to ask, does your pup have a favorite treat that I didn't mention? If so, let me know in the comments below, because I'm always looking for new treats to use with my dogs and puppies that I train. If you want a little bit more about how to use positive reinforcement to train your pup to be well-behaved, well-mannered, I actually have a free on-demand webinar called The 5 Biggest Training Mistakes Pup Parents Make and How to Avoid Them so you can live a more peaceful life with your pup. You can watch on demand. The link to sign up is below. I also have a Possum Parents Facebook group where you can connect with like-minded pup parents just like you and get your training questions answered. I've included a link to that below as well. I've also included a link to all of the treats that I mentioned in the description below as well. All right, that's it for today, everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.